Hey folks, Lenny Lawson here, the Car Guru. I'm going to ask you a question real quick. Do you know what slate is? Okay, well, most people would say, well, isn't that stuff that's rock? You know, it's like rock that they use as the foundation of a lot of buildings. Yes, you would be correct, but it's also a new automotive brand. It's called Slate, and it is supposedly the affordable alternative for people who want to buy an electric vehicle for right around $25,000. And it's a truck. It's a little truck, two-seater. Looks like the old Chevy Love truck or a little Nissan hardbody, you know, without any extended cab or crew cab. No, this is just a very basic, boxy truck. And when they roll out of the Slate factory, they're all the same color. They all have exactly the same equipment. Who's going to buy that? Good question. But it is backed by some pretty deep pockets. I think Jeff Bezos of Amazon fame he's one of the investors. So what they're trying to do is, okay, the high-priced EVs didn't work. Not enough people bought them. Yeah, they did in California. I was talking to my cousin who lives in Seattle. I mentioned this last week. And she said, Lenny, everybody drives EVs. Fine, that's good. You know, if it works for their family and it's affordable, they don't have to pay those expensive gas prices on the West Coast. That's fine. I think there's a place for EVs. Would I own one? Yeah, I possibly would. But not anytime soon because we travel too much and I really don't like the charging thing. And so that doesn't work for me. But if I was living in a major city or like in the suburbs of a major city and I was going to drive less than 300 miles in a day, then an EV makes good sense. Not to buy it. As I always say on this show, you don't buy EV vehicles, you lease them. So Slate is a little truck. Now, it is like Lego, though, because you can turn it into a little SUV. That's right. You can buy a cover for the bed. You can buy a seating package, an airbag package. Have no idea how that's going to be installed. I think it's about $3,200 is what I saw to convert the little truck into an SUV. And then you have an SUV that has no radio, that does not have power windows, power door locks, cruise control, doesn't have any of that stuff. And it's $25,000 or 26 something. So Ford said, okay, well, this wasn't really a response to the Slate. This has been in process for a long time. They're coming out with the new Fathom. Now, the Fathom is a four-door vehicle, the same amount of room as they say it has more room than a Toyota RAV4. So that's, seating for five. And it has a bed, so it's still a truck, but you can put a bed cover on it, and it becomes a big trunk. But it has power windows, power door locks. It has a radio. It's fully equipped. It's not a strip-o. And it's $28,400 and some odd dollars plus freight. It's still under $30,000. So, I don't know how the Slate's going to make it against Ford, but they might. So what they're trying to do, what's the idea here? It's to make EVs affordable on the front end, not just on the fuel saving side of things. Now, another thing they're going to have to consider is our insurance costs, because if you have a fairly minor accident in an EV, it will total it, because if it invades the battery area at all, the vehicle is totaled. So what will that do to insurance costs? It's not going to be a good thing. So if you're thinking about EV, just hold on a little while is my recommendation. Go ahead and buy a hybrid. There's going to be a whole lot more choices of hybrids out there as well. And that's an interim step to an EV, a full EV. I'm just not there yet. I love what Nissan is doing. Of course, I am a Ford and a Nissan dealer in Greenville, Tennessee. And they have a hybrid Rogue that's going to be hitting the lot here in probably about 2 months. and it uses a different type of technology. They call it e-Power, and it's really interesting. It is a hybrid, which means that it has electric motors, a battery, and an internal combustion engine. And it runs on the internal combustion engine, well, most hybrids do, about 80% of the time. 20% of the time, you're in battery power. So you can take a typical hybrid, if the internal combustion engine version gets 25 miles per gallon, then the hybrid will get maybe 32 to 35, in some cases 40. Depends on how you drive. But the Nissan Rogue Hybrid is going to work differently. Instead of having the internal combustion engine drive the wheels, electric motors will always drive the wheels. The internal combustion engine will actually just charge the battery. That's what it does. It doesn't drive the car. So the blessing of an EV is just the smoothness of them. They're just fantastic as far as the way the power comes on. Very smooth and no vibration. That's what I like about them. What I don't like about them is having to stop on the side of the road someplace and plug in and wait until there's an available plug, because you don't know how many other people are standing in line to charge their electric vehicle. That would be my concern with traveling, and I know several people who have gotten stuck in those lines. It takes about anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes to charge an EV. So if you have them stacked 3 deep, it could be a while. So I think this Rogue Hybrid is going to sell because, well, it sells very well in other countries. It's been going on for like 5 years. For some reason or other, they decided not to bring it to the United States. Well, now they're doing it. And I think it'll put all the other hybrids to shame, including the ones from Toyota and Honda and the rest of them, simply because of the way it operates. The other hybrids operate, like I say, the internal combustion engine will shut off. The electric motor is built into the drivetrain, so it takes over the power through the same transmission and sends the power to either the rear wheels or the front wheels or all four wheels. But the internal combustion engine ultimately is responsible for driving the vehicle down the road. It's not the way on the Nissan Hybrid. All the internal combustion engine does is charge the batteries. Keeps them charged all the time. Electric motors are always driving the wheels. So that's going to be fun. I can't wait to have those to sell, because that's something we're really excited about as Nissan dealers. Okay, I'll take my first break, and I'll be back here in just a minute. So I was talking to one of my new salespeople today. He's brand new. He's never sold cars before. The learning curve, folks, is steep. It's really steep. And so I was just talking to him in the showroom, and I said, well, what are your biggest concerns at this point? He said, well, I've never really been that good at small talk. And I said, well, how do you define small talk? Well, that's like when you are, talking to somebody and you really don't have that much to say. I said, well, that should never be a problem here. The way I look at small talk is I look at it as getting to know somebody. To me, it's not small, it's big. It's big talk. And the way you make it big is to make it about the customer. Of course, that's true, I guess, in any type of relationship. The more you talk about yourself, the less people are interested. Make it about them. Find out, why are they here? What are they trying to accomplish? What are their concerns? How do they use their vehicle? Is it just around town? Is it, for short jaunts to distant cities, or do they use it for a lot of traveling, vacations, or do they use it for everything? How many people are in the family? How many seats do you need? You got kids? You got to have used car seats. How much luggage room do you need? All of these things are important. It's just like when somebody goes to buy a house. They go into a realtor. They say, we want to buy a house. They don't just go out and start showing them houses. That wouldn't be very smart. They need to find out, what are the key attributes that they're looking for in a house? It's the same thing selling a car or a tractor or a side-by-side or a washing machine. Any of it. I mean, how many people are you washing clothes for? I mean, I don't know what all the washing machine questions would be, but I pretty much know after 48 years what all the car questions should be. And I think that the salesperson who is the best at being able to relate to the needs of the customer and the wants, but the needs come first. Those are the non-negotiables. You know, do you have non-negotiables when you go shopping? It may be a number, you know, like a payment or a price or a trade value. You know, there could be a number of different variables that you're looking at, not just one. When I'm talking to folks about buying cars, there should be 4, and we talk about that a lot on this program. But, you know, what are the non-negotiables for you in terms of the vehicle itself, as far as things like visibility, ability to get in and out of the vehicle? It's a big issue for older folks like me. You know, I'm struggling more and more getting out of some of the sports cars that I have. I mean, I have to really maneuver myself. And first I'll look around, make sure nobody's watching me. Then I will begin the extraction process. I figured out, like in one of my cars, where I need to put my hands, where I can give myself additional lift, like an airplane, so that I can push up in a way that if somebody is watching me, I won't look. It won't be something they would want to put on YouTube or Facebook. Look at this old man trying to get out of this Porsche. Yeah, I got to know where to put my hands. These things are important for older people, but for younger people as well. I mean, I hate to see somebody buy a vehicle and then have to sit on pillows from home. But there are a lot of people that have to do that. As a matter of fact, I've had customers that I've been selling a car to, usually ladies, that have said, let me go get my pillow. What do you need a pillow for? I just need to see if it'll lift me up because I know the seat won't be high enough for me. Well, let's try it and see. And ends up, no, she's right. It's not high enough, so she has to sit on a pillow. And I don't like it when people have to do that, but that's their life. That's something they have to deal with. But once they put the pillow down and sit in the vehicle, is it still comfortable? Can they see out of it? Can they get the mirrors adjusted the way they need to? You know, so many customers, not as many as there was, but there are a lot of people that are still just amazed at the camera systems that are on cars. You know, you get the backup camera. Most of what we sell have cameras in the mirrors, the side mirrors, cameras in the front, and you even get that 360-degree view that looks like there's a helicopter flying over your car and shooting down and sending that feed to your screen and allowing you to see all around you. I wouldn't buy a car that didn't have a 360 camera because they're out there. They're available. Now, if you get a Slate, you're not getting that. I think you'll have to get a rear view camera because that's mandated by the federal government, but it won't have all the other camera systems. But the Fathom will. Okay, let's get back on track. You know, when I look at this, I don't see a lot of space for small talk. I mean, you can talk about the weather and politics. No, stay away from that because you might be a Republican and your customer is a hardcore Democrat. And always avoid political discussions. But you can find out so much about the customer's lifestyle and how the vehicle is going to fit their life. Over the years, I've seen people come in to buy one type of vehicle and leave with something totally different because maybe a payment issue, the price ended up being too much on what they wanted, so they had to reevaluate. You know, in those types of scenarios, I tell folks, you know, you really need to go home and think about this. Don't just jump because you came to buy a car today and you had to ask to get off of work and, you know, this is the most convenient time to do it. Bad decision. Bad time to spend $50,000. They don't think about that. They think about, well, when's my first payment? It's in 30 days. And how much is my payment again? $550. Yeah, I can do that. They're not thinking that it's for 84 months. And if they'd really taken their time and hit the 4 targets, they could get that same car for $385 a month. But they didn't know what they were buying. Why? Because they were in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry. It's a big decision. It's not like going to Dick's Sporting Goods and buying some new tights or golf balls. Yeah, if you want to make a spur-of-the-moment decision on golf balls and tights, that's okay. You can recover from that. But if you make a real fast decision on a car, and then all of a sudden, 6 months later, the ether wears off and you're saying, what did we do? And then you go try to trade it. You financed it for 84 months with nothing down, and now you're $20,000 upside down. Can it happen that fast? Well, maybe not that fast, but you're $10,000 upside down. Can it happen that fast? Yes. So you just lost 10 grand by trading for what you should have traded for to begin with. So one of the big things that I tell people to do is go on a long test drive and drive the vehicle. Don't just drive the vehicle to the next crossover, turn around and come back to the dealership because you're nervous. Get it out on a 2-lane road. Let the salesperson drive first. That's one of the big things that I do with my customers. I just automatically say, do you want me to drive first? You know what about 90% of them say? Yeah, please do. And what that allows you to do is to sit there and feel really how the car rides, adjust the air conditioning vents, see how easy they are to adjust. Look around, see what kind of visibility that you have. Is there a lot of road noise? Have the guy open up the sunroof, see how it brightens up the interior. Adjust the seat the way you like it. So many different things you can do when you're not driving that you wouldn't dare do while you're driving because you're worried about wrecking the car. You're not familiar with the vehicle. Let the salesperson drive first. Insist upon it. And then stop. Get in the back seat. I know it will look silly, but the salesperson's driving. You're in the back seat. And you're just looking around and you're seeing how comfortable that seat is. Do you have room for your feet? My shoe size is 13. And some cars just don't have enough room. Does the seat recline in the back? My kids always wanted the seat to recline in the back, and a lot of vehicles don't have a reclining back seat. Is the seat on a slider where you can move it up and back just in case you need more cargo room or more leg room, whatever the case may be? See, you're not going to know these things if you don't have a really good test drive. And then stop again. Say, okay, I'll drive now. I feel comfortable. I'm just going to go ahead and drive. See how the steering feels. Is it easy enough to turn? I've had a few customers say that they thought on the Nissan Frontier that the steering was a little stiff. And so they ended up driving a Maverick or driving a Ranger, and they like it better because it's got a little bit more boost to the steering. Most people don't care. They said it feels fine. But, you would know that if you didn't drive the vehicle. And you want to feel how the transmission shifts and what kind of visibility do you have out of the mirrors. Can you park it? Where's the front end? A lot of people say, I can't see the front. And, that's something that you get used to, right? Over time, you learn where the front of your vehicle is. And if it has a front camera, like a lot of cars that we sell, when you get close to something, all of a sudden the picture pops up on that screen and you know exactly where that curb is. So you don't destroy your front spoiler on your vehicle. So it's a process. It's just one little teeny aspect of buying a car that too many people shortchange. And I just wouldn't recommend it. I'll be back in just 1 minute. So I really don't care what you're buying, what brand of car. Doesn't matter if it's a Mercedes or a Mazda, a Cadillac or a Kia. You need to treat them all the same, and you need to follow a car buying process so that you don't get taken advantage of. Well, and the danger is not just getting taken advantage of by the dealership or the crooked salesperson. That's got enough danger in and of itself. The danger is you just make a bad decision on the vehicle. I don't want you to do that either. So the first decision is what to buy, understanding why you're buying it, and how it's going to fit into your car life. The second decision is how you buy it from a financing standpoint, leasing. I'm always going to get a quote on a purchase or a lease. I'm just going to make sure that they're basing the quote on the same selling price. And remember, the selling price on a car is called the selling price. The selling price on a lease is called the capitalized cost. Don't let them bury that number. I've seen dealerships say, well, now the capitalized cost is higher on a car, on this particular car than if you buy it. Sir, excuse me, but that's baloney. The capitalized cost is the same as the sale price. Thank you very much. Now, in a lease, there are other charges like the acquisition fee, and some dealerships will also charge a dock fee on a lease. We don't, but some dealerships do. And so you got to know what all these fees are, and then you're looking at the monthly payment. You're looking at what you can buy the car for. We'll do another lease program later on this week so that we can touch that, because I'm recommending it to people to get a lease quote and a purchase quote. And so I want you to understand what the foundation is, what all the variables mean, and then you can go in there ready. Now, if you have a copy of the My Car Guru guidebook, I explain all of that in the guidebook. How do you get it? Send me your email address to my cell phone number, 423-552-2020. I'll send you a copy. Then you can handle the purchase or the lease, whichever way you want to go. Both will make sense then. And, is it okay to pull that thing out in the middle of a deal? Absolutely. Salesperson may say, what's that? And say, well, this is a copy of the My Car Guru guidebook, and it tells me exactly how to deal with people like you. Oh, can I see it? No, you cannot. But you can get one of your own if you get in the market for a car. Well, I work here. I know that, but you can still get one because he does not discriminate. And no, I do not discriminate. I'm an equal opportunity car guru. And if you want a copy, again, 423-552-2020, or send me an email to LennyLawson2020@gmail.com. Well, thanks for listening to this edition of My Car Guru, and I'll see you next time.